I'm James McGilbray, and here with co-host Gary Webster, whom you already know, many of you, who co-hosts quite often, and of course the lovely and talented Sue Holland Johnson.
Oh, please.
And we're very blessed to have with us tonight, very pleased to have with us two very talented and significant members of our community. Someone that I've worked with, Jimmy Silver of The Real Thing, which is the preeminent recording studio in town. And also want to welcome Ms. Nancy Telzero. Now, did I pronounce that right?
You did. That was a good job.
Okay, just want to make sure. I had not met Nancy before, but in going online and seeing some of the wonderful work that you're doing, it's exciting, and I think we're going to have an interesting discussion here. First of all, how did the two of you come in collaboration to begin with, Jimmy?
The interest I have, well, first of all, we met at the studio. Nancy is a voiceover talent and doing work there at the studio, and shared an interest in health and fitness and nutrition and longevity, and would talk about it and share ideas and thoughts and whatnot, and that's sort of the common interest behind it.
And tell us a little bit about the studio that we're talking about.
Well, the Real Thing Studio has been in business now for 35 years. Started as a music studio and turned into an advertising production studio doing radio, sound for TV, and industrial narration soundtracks. And after these 35 years there, now we are turning back to a music studio again.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And it's wonderful because that's certainly my first love, and so it's been kind of fun to watch the transition happening. It's taking place right now.
That's marvelous. Now, we'll see this group, and so tell us about Qigong.
Well, Qigong is one of many forms of focused attention and energy movement. But more importantly, it would just be part of a practice of like wellness.
Yes.
And that's certainly, you know, the part it plays in my life, and that's how I use it.
And that's why we are here to talk. This is another New You for New Life segment, because we are also all about the holistic health and wellness component of being a human being, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, materially, and in relationships. And that covers everybody's entire sense of being. So what you're doing is you're bringing that, all your various levels to bear in helping people practice and live life on a higher level. And so how did you get involved in the improved living practice, if you will?
Well, the Jimmy.
The Jimmy.
That's what I call him.
This is the Jamester here.
Oh, he's the Jamester.
He's the Jamester. That's the Jimmy.
And we did start talking about it, and he talked to me about hiking. And as we would go, we'd meet, we'd hike, and we'd start talking more and more about it. And I found out, I think I've been sort of raised that way all my life. Mm-hmm. My mother had a certain feeling about how to take care of yourself and what to turn to versus maybe a traditional medication. There's always maybe a berry or a certain type of nutrition, and mm-hmm. and so we would just talk about that in common, and he's been great. He's been a great influence.
Okay, now do you guys, I know you're practitioners, do you also teach it, lead groups, workshops, any of that kind of thing?
I'm not sure practitioner would apply.
A person who practices, lives it. Okay. Yeah, in that sense.
I've done some teaching, and enjoy doing that very much. What's interesting is whether or not people are actually interested in making change. It seems that most people want to change and remain the same. Yeah. And it becomes very difficult to go much further than that. But actually, to give you a better idea how I look at the picture, I basically look at that there's 5 fundamental pillars. Now we're talking about your physical holistic health, okay? And those would be diet, water, would be 1. Exercise would be 2. Supplementation would be 3. And then sleep is enormous. That would be number 4. And then the 5th part, which is crucially important, is what I call practice purpose. Now, Qigong would come under practice. It's a form of a practice. But more importantly, when you talk about practice purpose, you're talking about sort of the way you organize and run your life, the way you coordinate it, and you're constantly trying to improve it in whatever way you can, doing the best you can as often as you can. And one of the connections that I have with Nancy right now that's of particular interest to me is when you talk about purpose.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, they spend their lives doing what they were brought up to. In other words, we go through school and we get a job and marriage and, you know, raise a family, and all of a sudden we find ourselves somewhere later on in life wondering, what am I doing here? What is this purpose? And to be in touch with what you truly love to do, what might be a passion of yours, like you, Sue, doing this, and, you know, like acting and things like that, is enormous, because your thoughts in regards to diet, nutrition, and exercise, and everything else you might do, your thoughts are going to trump everything. That, you know, you can find information sources everywhere and all over the place, but you really need to look to yourself.
Thank you.
There's nothing more important than what you and your system are telling you on their own.
And that's the hard part. That's one of the hardest things for people to learn, because I do workshops with that too, about learning to look within, because that's where all the answers are.
Start there and you'll
go from there. Nancy, in speaking of living the holistic lifestyle, practicing and living a healthy lifestyle, how do you bring that work into being an actor? How does that help you prepare, rehearse, perform, get yourself together, become centered to bring out the best energy and the positive forces that are within when you get ready to perform?
Well, I think taking care of myself, I do watch the amount of sleep I get and the amount of water intake and what I put into my body, and I take good care of myself. So of course I'm going to appear on set and be ready to go and have all the energy I need to have. But then there's the practice purpose that he's talking about. Like I have created a project for myself that is right here in my heart. You know, it's my whole love, and so in doing that, I think it's like one feeds the other.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that. Is that the Meryl Streep
That's the A to
project?
Z with Meryl and
Yes.
me. And basically, I've just taken her filmography, cut it up into little letters, and picked out of a hat and said, okay, for A, I'll do the film adaptation. And pick it out, okay, before and after. I hadn't seen most of these films, so I had to watch all of them, had to cast all of them, had to film all of them, and I'm on letter I, the next that are coming, JKL, all three at the end of July.
Now, I understand
So-
you were inspired by Julia and Julia.
Yeah, that movie, Julie
Right.
and Julia. So there's a blog that accompanies it, nancytelsrow.blogspot.com. So I write all about it. It's like a journal.
Excellent.
Okay. Say that again so that our audience can really capture your blog site.
The blog is nancytelsrow.blogspot.com. And if you want to see the videos, it's youtube.com/nancytelsrow.
Is there a number or contact information that
Well,
folks can reach you
sure.
as of now?
Info at therealthing.com, and that's TheReelThing.
Okay, and as we begin to close it down, what would you give our viewers in terms of, you know, if they want to make one positive change in their life, if they want to do something on a higher level, what might that be to move them along?
I always say be true to yourself, but that just sounds so general. But I think if you really pay attention, you'll know what you can do and what you can't do and what you're willing to do. So for me, like in my project, I knew that I was going to take this all the way because there was nothing that I wouldn't do to make it work. And when you find that's your passion, then you just hold on to it, hold it dear, and you kind of go.
Yes, and Jimmy, what little something would you leave our audience with this evening?
I would say do not let a single day go by where you don't ask yourself, what do I really want? What do I really want?
And that almost warrants an amen.
Amen. Or something like that.
Okay, we want to thank you so much. I'm so glad we captured you here. And I'll talk to you off camera because I don't want to get my fellow actor in trouble. Thank you so much, Jimmy Silver and Nancy Telsrow, and of course Gary and James, our co-hosts. And stick around, don't go away. We got more to come, but we're not going to tell you what it is. So thank you. See you in a minute. Thank you so much.